Okay, welcome everybody on this Monday morning to our session talking about Trimble Site Vision and Trimble Catalyst today. My name is Jay Haskamp. I work out of our office in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and I'm going to kind of moderate this thing today. So I want to introduce our panelists today, and they'll kind of take the presentation from here. So both from our Denver, Colorado office, we have Chris Barnes and Troy Hernandez. They've kind of been some of our go-to people in regards to Catalyst and kind of trying out this site vision system over the past several months. Just a couple quick housekeeping things. You should see a window on your toolbar to ask any questions. Feel free to type any questions in that window. We'll see them on our end. We'll do our best to try and answer them as they come in, but if we don't get to all of them, we'll try to get to most of them at the end. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Troy and Chris, and again, thanks everybody for attending this morning.
So the agenda today is to kind of introduce you to Trimble Site Vision, what you'll need, the hardware, phone cases. Use cases is going to range from several different industries. Demonstrating the site vision, we selected a site that we're going to kind of give you a run through coming from Trimble Business Center, using the new exporter for site vision and integrating a few AutoCAD files, as well as using the data prep module in TBC if you don't have any data. We'll show you the workflow of that, and at the end we'll walk through our website that is going to allow you to purchase and subscribe to the Site Vision. So Trimble Site Vision is a high accuracy augmented reality system that is ideal for outdoors. It enables you to interact with your spatial data in the context of the real world, which is pretty important nowadays with all this 3D data. So why site vision and geospatial? One of the most important things is it allows you to collaborate. There's a lot of different team members now that are wanting to be able to see this data visually, and blueprint drawings are a little bit a thing of the past right now. So being able to have a new technician be able to go out and visualize exactly what he's looking at is pretty important. So site vision is a complementary tool. Now you're still going to need to be able to go out with a tool station and a GPS to do layout, or even your Geo7 Explorers, but this is just another way to visualize the data and be able to use your shape files and get all your attributes as you walk out in the field, to be able to see your control points, your boundary lines, and be able to touch those specific items and see the attributes. Another really powerful thing is it's going to leverage, if you're using Trimble Connect and Trimble Access, you'll be able to utilize those projects and using a JXL or the Project Excel and select and see your data overlaid in real time. You're going to also be able to communicate with team members. So if you see something in the field that may or may not look correct, you're going to be able to take geo-referenced images and add notes to those images and share with your team members. So the site vision is going to be comprised of the Trimble Catalyst, the Site Vision app, and you're going to bring your own phone. The phone device is, oh, sorry. Here's the contents of what you're going to get. You're going to get the handle, which has an EDM built in, a sunshade, and a prism pole mount. and back to the phone, is you need to have, what is it, Samsung 9, or yeah, Samsung 9 engine in order for this device to work. So I believe it's going to be the Samsung Note 8 and the 7 or S8 Plus are the lowest models that you can use for this. And it is bring your own device. So the Trimble Sight Vision is going to utilize the Google AR Core technology, AR Core technology. And it's going to also use the Trimble corrections, either VRS or RTX. And you are also able to use a third-party correction. And with this, you're going to get the Trimble Connect business. So again, if you already have a Trimble Access and using Trimble Connect, you're going to be able to utilize that as well. There are 3 different measuring modes that you can use, and this is new to the release of the Trimble Sight Vision. Is you're going to be able to use the EDM to measure from real world to model, model to model, and real world to real world. So the real world to model is if you have cut fill, so if you have a 3D surface in there and you want to verify grades, you're going to be able to do that. If you missed an object that you want to record, you can also measure that with either the EDM or if you have a prism pole attached. So there's a couple different ways you could place this model. One is a manual placement. So if you do not have any control on the site and you just want to kind of roughly get an idea of where things are at and you have a general idea where property corners are, you're able to do it just manually. The second way is the 2-point calibration, which is we're going to show you through Trimble Business Center and also in the field. And if you're using any of the GPS equipment and Trimble Business Center, you're going to be able to automatically calibrate your site. And as soon as you open that model, it's going to pop right into place. That is the easiest way to do it. Like I said before, you're going to be able to do reporting and tasks. And those can be assigned to different users throughout the project that are assigned to that particular project. Depending on your data that you have, if you do have layers, you're going to be able to switch layers on and off, which is pretty important if you are using any 3D building models or AutoCAD files. And just a little bit of the specifications. The EDM can go up to 100 meters, but it's recommended to stay roughly around 10 to 30 meters to get a good distance. And it's mainly just because of the bright light. And the software is going to be able to support multiple various third-party apps and software as well. So one of the first applications that you're going to be able to do with this is for the cadastral surveying. Being able to show your client the boundary lines on the ground and give them an idea of where things really are, or even locating monuments for your field crews that haven't been out to the site, and they're going to be able to quickly visualize and click on that monument, and if there's some attributes or any notes that you want associated that tells them that it's buried a certain amount below the ground, or anything important that they need to know about that monument, you could have that embedded into the point. And here's an example just kind of be able to show your customers and your clients where boundaries are, and it gives them a real perspective that you wouldn't be able to have, especially on really long sites where property corners are several hundred feet away from each other. Utilities is another important one, either on the construction site or for municipalities, sorry, that want to be able to visualize any of their utilities out on the roads and not have to be able to go out into the road for safety reasons. You'll be able to avoid conflicts and unwanted intersections before digging. So if you have this data and you've recorded it, as-built it prior, there's always times where the data gets lost or there's something that's not located properly. If you have this, it's another safety detail that you're able to utilize. So one of the safety aspects of this is if your crews aren't going out to the site very often, or it's the first time that they're going to be out there, being able to familiarize yourself with the site before is pretty important. You're able to walk them through, show them full scale of what potential safety items that they need to be aware of. You're also able to visualize and see if safety items are in place. So being able to go over this with your safety manager and get his input, what you visualize the safety is going to look like, is just another collaborating tool that you're able to utilize. A lot of the visual is being able to see full scale, especially electrical lines, where they're going to be, how they're going to impact potential residents, even getting input from city managers. And here's an example. I'm going to show a quick video of what it looks like in real time. So this is the first screen of the app, and it's going to ask you to, once you start the software, and if it's geographically located correctly, it's going to ask you to walk at least 10 yards. And that's going to start the orientation. And as soon as it gets its orientation, you're going to see on the left-hand corner where it has the GPS precisions, and you're going to also be able to start to see visually the full-scale electrical lines. And the two yellow balls that are on the bottom, those are the 2 points that we use to calibrate the site. So the quick overview, as long as the software that you're using is able to kick out a land XML, IFC, or DWG, those are pretty much the universal that most companies are using. You're going to be able to upload these to Trimble Connect. And SketchUp, Trimble Business Center are going to be the two that are the ones that are going to allow you to have direct export to Trimble Connect. So of all these formats, you're going to be able to visualize points, lines, and surfaces. One of the nice things is with the TTMs, if you export directly out of Trimble Business Center, you're going to be able to overlay an image. And that image could be either a PDF overlay of your site, or even a cut fill color-coded map, or just the cut fill descriptors on there. So it really starts to give you a good visualization of what the site's looking like. And if you don't have any 3D models, and all you do have is a PDF, you're able to extract contours and overlay the PDF and be able to visualize that in the field. So the data workflow for ArcMap is you need to be able to export a supported file format, and that could be a shapefile or a project geodatabase. You're going to create a new workspace, import for your files into SiteVision using Trimble Connect, and there's going to be a short waiting time for the files to assimilate. And once the file is ready, you'll be able to open this into the Trimble SiteVision app on the phone. Like I mentioned before, you're able to measure things either with the Catalyst and Pole or the EDM, and that's going to create those points and be able to sync it back to Trimble Connect, and you're going to get a CSV that can be re-imported into ArcMap. And TerraFlex is going to be a very similar workflow. There again, you're going to have to export a supported format, and you'll sync through Trimble Connect. You'll wait for it to assimilate, and then you'll be able to open into SiteVision. The Trimble Business Center workflow can be started a couple different ways. If your field crews are using Trimble Connect, the office technician will be able to utilize and import the job data from Trimble Connect and manipulate the data for the items that they want exported. And under the Home Export tab, you're going to see a new exporter. It's going to be the SiteVision AR exporter, and it can be found under the Construction tab in the Export. And you're able to export directly to Trimble Business Center, and that'll be demonstrated here in a few minutes. And once you collect any extra data in the field, you'll sync the data back to Trimble Connect and be able to import that through Trimble Sync Manager. So here is a quick workflow of Trimble Business Center, and this project was started with just a PDF. So I used a field data module and created the contours and extracted the vector lines. So if you notice the little note on the screen, it was a calibrated site. We did utilize a Trimble R10 and collected the property corners. So that's what you'll see now is the little triangles. Those are the property corner monuments. And when you go to export this data, the control points, as long as they have the control quality, they will come in as a control point in the data. And any of the other points, they will just come in as points. So we're going to highlight all the data and be able to export this. And this is under the Export tab, the Construction tab. You'll see the new SiteVision AR exporter. And next to the file name, the third button all the way to the right is going to be the external services tab, where you're going to be able to save this directly to Trimble Connect. It'll ask you for your credentials, and then also the server that you're going to want to use. And in this case, it's going to be North America. And under this, it's going to ask for the project. And in here, what is nice about this new exporter is that it's going to create all the necessary files that you're going to need. And what's important is that all the names have to have the same naming convention. So the calibration file, the DWG, they all have to have the same exact name in order for it to reference itself. And in the past, this was all independent. You'd have to individually name each file. And this is just the same exact file that is going to be used coming out of AutoCAD. So you're able to use a lot of different formats in the same project and same visualization. So we're using Business Center for the calibration, we're using Business Center for the surface, and we're using AutoCAD for the 3D model of the structure. So like I was mentioning before, the file structure, we're using the same calibration, and all I had to do is change the name. So just to visualize a 3D model, we changed the calibration to read Trimble 3D CAD model, and the other one is going to be Trimble Sight Vision webinar calibration. And that is still the same one that is coming from the TBC file. So here's the demonstration, and this is going to be the using the measured calibration method. So we're going to click on measure, and it's going to ask us where do we want to measure to, and in this case it's going to be top of model, and it's going to ask for the height of the prism pole. So you first locate your first point, and you're going to click on measure. And then you have to locate, using the model, the control points. And these triangles are the control points that were in the TBC model. And they're coming in as control points because they were control quality in TBC. So then it's going to ask for the second calibration point. Once the second point's located, you're going to click on measure again. And once this routine is complete, it's going to ask you to walk 10 yards to get its orientation. And then the site and the model is going to be calibrated. And this is different than if you already had the GXL, which this model did. I just wanted to go through and show you the routine. But this model did come into place correctly since it did have the calibration file from TBC. And you're just going to zoom in and get it graphically on top of the control point. Then you'll hit select and apply. And as soon as you complete the 10-yard walk for the calibration, you'll see this model swing right into place. So using the sight vision, it's going to come into play for a lot of different aspects. One, the quality control to ensure that the forms are in the correct space. And also, if you have any electrical plumbing that need to be in walls or inside of the foundation, you'll be able to visualize that as well. And you're going to have the ability to do cross-sectioning and be able to view distance. So you'll be able to start to see the distance behind the model. And you can see where the 3D model and the form step in the exact same location. So here is measuring with the EDM. You're going to be able to utilize the EDM on the handle and point it towards an item that was not included in your data set and give it a description and a point name. And then you'll be able to see the northern and eastings. And these points are going to be able to sync back up with Trimble Connect and re-import it into either Trimble Business Center or ArcMap and have it included in the original data set. So a little bit about the subscription. The hardware kit is going to be $3,250. And as far as the software, it's a little unique that you're going to be allowed to do a month-to-month or a year subscription. And the subscription is going to be all-inclusive for both the cloud services and the Trimble correction services as well.
All right, so now we're done with the sight vision and we'll jump into the Catalyst. So this one's been out for a couple of years. Catalyst, some people get it confused because they think it's this little antenna up here at the top, but that is actually just a digital antenna. The Catalyst itself is actually a software-defined GNSS receiver, so it's actually a code that's running on your device. So it'll use Trimble's correction hub for VRS Now or RTX corrections. You do have the option to do a third-party interrupt source or single base to connect to. And then you have the on-demand accuracy, so it is available whenever you're ready to use it. Of course, as I spoke to before, with the software being the receiver, it'll allow you to bring your own device, so there's no large upfront cost with purchasing equipment right off the bat. You can use any Android tablets that you have, and then you can use any third-party apps as well. They do have some ready apps that we'll talk about here in a minute. And the offline and online workflows both work. It just depends on how you want to manage that and what kind of source you're connecting to. So what is required? So the Catalyst is obviously a soft GNSS is what they call it, so it's a receiver that is software. So that just is an app. It's a Catalyst service that you can download from the Android Play Store. And then you will be required to use that DA1 antenna, or the digital antenna is what it's called. It connects through cables, so you can either use a USB-C or a mini USB, and then it'll connect up into the device and it'll power through. And then we have the BYO apps for doing either some of the Trimble apps, the partner apps, or third-party apps. And then, of course, as we talked a little bit before, BYO on Android devices as well. So as far as hardware goes, there is some limitations on the Android. You do need to have Android 5 or higher, and then you need a 64-bit processor. The higher the better. Obviously, as the app progresses, it's going to require more RAM to process it to get better accuracy. The core processor, 1.5 gigahertz, and you need to have at least a 1.5 gigabyte of RAM or higher. They do have a compatibility list that you can check out and see if your device is on there. Some may not be listed in there, and you can try it out by just downloading the app from the Play Store and seeing if it tells you whether it's compatible or not. And of course, as we spoke to before, you'll need either that mini USB or USB-C connection to have that DA1 antenna connect to your device. So now we get kind of into the nitty-gritty of the Catalyst. So there's the different subscription options. So you can have the free option, which is just the Catalyst antenna connected to the phone with no subscription, and that'll get you autonomous correction. So usually about 2 meters in optimal conditions. If you are in an urban canyon or some canopy, then that's going to be higher than that. And then we start into the purchase subscription. So the first level there is the 1 meter accuracy. So it runs about 40 a month, and it'll use the Trimble Correction Hub to get that accuracy. And same with the sub-meter. So those are both going to be based off probably RTX in most areas. So that'll get you down to that accuracy. And then the last two subscriptions, the decimeter and the precision, will depend on where you're at. With the Trimble Correction Hub comes the VRS Now or the RTX Float. You can also use a local source, so you can connect up to either a VRS network or a single base, such as like MnDOT's or Washington State Reference Network, Mid-States VRS, to name a few. You do have that option to just go ahead and switch it from the Trimble Correction Hub over to the location source that you want to use, and you can just put that IP import in there. And then the last one is the Catalyst On Demand. So this one is a little bit different because it is the same as Precision, but you buy a bundle of hours to use instead of using it for one solid month. So the hours can be used up for a year, and then you can just turn those on as you want. And we'll kind of discuss that here in a minute. So the new Catalyst On Demand, it can be purchased in packs of 10 hours at the minimum. You can go higher than that. You can go buy like packs of 50 or 100 hours in one big block. And those must be used from 1 year of the purchase date. So that has to do with kind of the service agreement that you have to use that within that time period or you lose them. The nice thing is with the hours comes unlimited users and account sharing. So you can share this across your organization, and anybody that's assigned to your account can have access to these hours to be used. And it'll always be the precision level at the highest. If you are in an area where you don't have cell coverage and don't have the option to connect into the VRS Now or a local station, then that accuracy is going to drop back, but it will be precision if you have the option to do that. So if we look at the coverage areas here, you can see kind of what I was talking about on the precision. You'll get the highest level that is available in your area. So you'll see like the light blue kind of in the middle of the country there, that's where Trimble's VRS Now network is. So if you're in that area, you'll automatically get that correction type. The middle blue color is the RTX. So it can get you down to 10 centimeters, and then everything else is just a float RTX, and so it'll get you about 50 centimeters. So this is all through the Trimble Correction Hub. So if you're using your own single base or N-trip source, you can get down to 1 centimeter anywhere across the world. Of course, you'll have to have some sort of cell coverage in that area to get that accuracy to connect to that N-trip source. So there are some limitations on area. So we kind of talked about sight vision earlier, and then we switched to the Catalyst. So the sight vision does obviously use the Catalyst subscription, but their antenna is a little bit different in the fact that they always have to have that precision level. So the Catalyst subscription comes with the sight vision demo or bundle, and it comes with the access to connect to VRS Now and Centerpoint RTX all the time. So they'll always be getting the precision level. So the sight vision bundle is different than the Catalyst bundle. So it does, Sight Vision uses Catalyst, but it has its own subscription that's already part of that bundle. You don't need to purchase it separately. So one of the biggest things, obviously, is actually managing that subscription. So this one we demoed with using the hour packs, but the monthly subscriptions will be done the same way. So you'll see this is the Trimble license manager that you can get access through once you purchase Catalyst. You'll get an email from Trimble, you'll click on the link, and it'll have you register and sign up for your account. And once your account's signed up, then you go ahead and enter in the code for that license. So when that license is there, you'll see it. You can see the search for license, and you can add in your license number. And then your Catalyst subscription comes available, whether it's the hour pack or the monthly subscription. From there, you can go to the Users tab, and you can add in whichever users you want on your account. So you can have multiple people on there, and then you can just assign out. You can share the hourly subscription with everybody on your account, or you can do it with a single user. The monthly ones you have to assign out to a user, and you can switch those as you need to. And you'll see once you go back up to the license, you'll have with the hourly one, you can share the pool with everybody. So that'll be by your email domain. Obviously, Trimble has blacklisted some emails, so if you're signing up and using a Gmail account or an Outlook account, those are going to be blacklisted so that you can't share those with everybody, because anybody that has a Gmail account would then be access your hours for Catalyst. So like our domain is frontierprecision.com. I could share my pool with everybody, so that way Troy can log in and use those hours, and I don't have to add him as a user specifically. He just has that domain, and he can share those hours and use it. The next thing too is they've added notifying. So when you're getting low on your hours, you can specify whether you want it to notify you when 1 hour is left or 5 hours, depending on what bundle you get. You can put your email in there, and then when it gets low, it's going to notify you saying, hey, you're about ready to run out of your hour pack. Do you want to purchase more? And then you can up that, or you can just continue it till you have another project that you need to use those hours on. And you'll see that you can do the named users too. If you don't want to share it with the email domain, you can share it with single individuals at that time, and then you can just assign out the license. So there is the Trimble Mobile Manager app that is on the device that will actually use the Catalyst subscription. Once you've logged in to the Trimble Mobile Manager, you'll see that you have the subscription there, and you can see that it's either active or inactive. So this is with the hourly on demand. So you can see that there's 39 hours left, and you can hit the start to check out hours. So you do have to be careful, because once you checked an hour out, it'll start counting, and you have to use it within that time period. So if you're only going to be using it for, like, say 2 hours that day, but you check out 3, it's going to go ahead and use those 3 hours, and you can't check that extra hour back. Once they're checked out, it's going to use them. There's no going back. So make sure that you're only checking out the hours that you need. So once you have the hours checked out, it's going to ask you if you want to go ahead and start the session, and you can say yes or no. And then you can see it start counting down. And once you get down to about 5 minutes, it's going to give you a warning saying, hey, you've only got 5 minutes left. Do you want to end the session, or do you want to extend the session for another hour to keep collecting data? So it's not going to stop you automatically at that end of the hour. You can extend at that time and do a second hour. And you can do it offline, so you can check out these hours while you're on cell coverage, and then you can go out offline and have that subscription going for that hour or 2 hours, or how many you check out. But it's not going to give you that option to extend when you're offline. And as far as apps that can be used with Catalyst, there are the Trimble Catalyst Ready apps, so the TerraFlex, PenMap, UAV ground control from Trimble, and Esri's Collector app all have that SDK for Catalyst built in, so you can go ahead and connect to them directly. But you can use the Trimble Mobile Manager to enable the mock locations and provide that location through the Android OS to overwrite the internal. So if we kind of take a look at how that's done, So the Catalyst Ready apps, you'll just go into where you select the location service or location provider, and you can automatically just see the Catalyst there when you plug it in, and then you just have to tap on it to connect to it and switch it from the internal to the Catalyst antenna. If you want to use it with a third-party app that doesn't have that SDK, you have to turn on the developer options for Android. So you'll go into the About phone and you'll tap on the build 7 times, and then it'll bring up the option to do developer options, and you'll see that the enable mock location is there, and you'll just tap that and you'll set it to the Trimble Mobile Manager. And then from there, you'll go into the Trimble Mobile Manager and you'll turn on the share location, so that's going to put out the location over the Android OS. Okay, so the Sight Vision was just released today. So we do have a website up for it now. So if you go to our frontierprecision.com website, you'll see down at the bottom there's a Trimble Catalyst Shop Now. So if you click on that link, it's going to redirect you to that web page. And so this web page has a little bit more information on it. So you can either purchase here, or you can go over to either the Catalyst or Sight Vision and find more info about them. We also have sales reps that can talk to you about it and demo it for you if you're interested in it as well. So we're done with the presentation, so we'll jump into questions here. Let's see if we've got any in the panel. So there is the chat option if you want to enter in any questions, and we'll answer them for you.
Hey, Chris, this is Jay. Are you able to see the questions? If not, I can read them off to you too.
No, I'm not seeing any.
Okay, so I have a couple here, and we'll go through these, and if there's some of these that we need to do some extra following up on, we'll just probably take your email address down. We have that info. We can follow up with you after the fact. But there was one question regarding the support of external laser rangefinders for the Sight Vision. Does it only support the integrated EDM in the handle, or is there support for other external systems as well?
Right now, it's just the integrated EDM. They don't have any options for doing like a laser tech rangefinder with the Sight Vision at this point.
Okay. The next one is, will there be support? This might be something we'd have to check and follow up on, but will there be support for other Esri file types, such as geodatabase, feature service, or SDE in Sight Vision?
Right now, you can do a file geodatabase or shape files, but any of the other formats, like a feature service directly from collector, is not supported due to the fact that it has to go through Trimble's Connect website, and the Connect doesn't interact with ArcGIS Online. You'll have to download the files from ArcGIS Online and put them over into Connect.
Okay. Next one is, will Sight Vision support offline viewing for project area which does not have Wi-Fi and or cellular coverage?
So as long as your model is downloaded prior to going to the field, you'll be able to use the manual placement feature if you don't have Wi-Fi.
Okay, excellent. Next question says, are the below ground assets true 3D measurements or depths from GIS, or are they simply draped on the ground? So I'm assuming this would be underground utility lines, things like that.
The the best answer is if the data is modeled correctly to reflect what's in the ground, when you use the pit view, it will be reflective as true. Other than that, it projects it draped on the ground when you see it. It's when you use the pit view that it'll visually look correct.
One of the questions is, can you connect to an on-site Trimble base station, or is it just RTX VRS only?
Yes, you can. You are able to connect to a Trimble base station.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
you can
important.
take it, because it'll have the Trimble correction hub by default, and you can just uncheck that, and then it opens up the option to input an IP and port in there, and then you can connect up directly as long as you have cell coverage or Wi-Fi.
This next question is more of a TerraFlex, which wasn't really covered in this session, but it was, is there any or how much GNSS metadata is stored when using Catalyst with TerraFlex? If we know that answer, we can answer it quickly. Otherwise, we can answer that offline as well.
Yeah, any of the auto fields that they have in TerraFlex should be populated by the Catalyst receiver. So it should pull in the name, like the PDOPs, the estimated accuracy, all that stuff. It should be fully integrated with TerraFlex, so it'll pull out that information like you would see just with like an R1 and R2.
A couple of questions on just the presentation being available, slides. We can certainly make those available. I do believe this is also recorded, and we can provide the recording if you want to play it back. But specifically, if you can show the slide, go back to the presentation, show the slide showing the supported phones. Is that possible?
Yeah.
And then as you're doing that, one of these questions was specific to a geographic area. The front range of Colorado, is that only accurate to 50 centimeters max? And I would say that's no. That's capable of going down to high precision with RTX, as well as there is a VRS in the front range of Colorado, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it'll kick over and use the VRS now where it can. So we can get it at the office here. The south part of town, down by like Centennial area, it can't quite give that VRS now, and then you have to connect to a single base to get that centimeter precision. Because if it switches over, it uses an RTX float, so it can get down to about 10 to 30 centimeters with good open skies. But if it's having some canopy or anything, it's going to be probably a little bit higher than that.
A couple of questions. Go ahead. Finish your thought there, Chris.
Yeah, if you connect into a single base, then it'll get that precision all along the front range if you have self-connection.
Excellent. Thank you. A couple of questions about iOS support. So Android only at this time. We're not the developers, so I can't say as far as when it will be compatible with iOS. But typically you'll see a solution like this compatible with Android first, because it's a little easier to develop and get licensed, and then iOS second, but I can't speculate on timing. One other question about, can you do the reverse example of collecting the imagery data in the field and viewing in the office through the virtual VR system later? I'm not sure about that. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
So are they just wanting to like draw the model in the office?
Not sure. Yeah, I guess we would need more more clarification on that question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can do like a manual alignment to anywhere. So obviously, like if you collected the site, you come back to the office and you still want to look at that model without going back to the site. You could like step out in the parking lot and manually put that model there and see what it looks like. Obviously, it's not going to be referenced correctly, but you can view that model at any time.
Okay, sounds great. And like I said, there's some other questions about About slides being available, we can certainly make them available at the conclusion, as well as a link to the playback when it's available, and that usually takes a couple of days, and anybody who's registered will have access to that. So we'll send out them a notification once that's done. Last question here is, will it work with the Samsung S10e? And I would just point them to the compatibility list on the website as far as phones that have been tested. And that should give you a good indication if this particular phone has been tested and it is indeed marked as compatible. I think that's it. If you guys have any other closing thoughts or comments.
We're good on this end.
Well, Chris and Troy, thank you very much. We appreciate the time today, and we appreciate everybody attending today's webinar on Catalyst and Sight Vision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.